BlizzCon, the time has come. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 StarCraft II World Championship Series Grand Finals. Two players all year long fought and climbed their way into the final position to be crowned the champion of the world in StarCraft II for 2017. Welcome, welcome. I am Nathanius on the couch, joined by In Control, Total Biscuit, and Rotterdam to talk to you about all things StarCraft, this amazing tournament we've had, and prep you for what is sure to be an epic conclusion to the 2017 WCS circuit. In Control, we've had an awesome BlizzCon. How are all of you guys doing? Have you guys seen anything amazing here? How's your BlizzCon been?
BlizzCon's great. You know, we've been talking a lot about the games, but for me, it's always been kind of a year-end celebration of StarCraft II, kind of in review, and it's really been great and fun. It's seeing these storylines come together. I know we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but the Sue storyline of all those second places, going to the BlizzCon finals, I mean, we're going to touch on this, but it's $100,000 for second. It's $280,000 for first. If there was a tournament to break your streak of second places, give me that $250,000 one. I think that'd be a good one for it.
That would certainly be the one to do it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for TY, he didn't manage to run away with the most money that a StarCraft II player has ever earned, and did so in a single year.
Yeah.
He didn't quite manage that as close as he was, but that's kind of been the story of a lot of this WCS, how close some of these series have been, how nail-biting some of these series have been. We just saw a phenomenal series between TY and Rogue. It was down to the wire. It was incredibly exciting, and that was hardly the only one. You go back to the round of 8, you look at Sue and Gumiho that went absolutely tooth and nail in this event. They were all obviously aiming for this massive grand prize, and we saw that caliber of play just take on another level as a result of that.
It's really been amazing to see the level of play that we've had here. Rotterdam, how's your BlizzCon been? How have you been enjoying today's matches?
A lot, obviously, especially that second semifinals. Expected more of the first one. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, but I'm with Jeff as well. It feels like, even though this is supposed to be like a work weekend for us, it's more of a celebration of the game that we always play, that we always watch, and it's almost actually kind of sad that there is so much StarCraft because we have very little time to walk around the actual BlizzCon and enjoy it like everybody else is perhaps enjoying a BlizzCon. But I've been having a lot of fun. It's so cool to spend a lot of time with the players as well. This time, actually, managed to spend way more time with the Koreans as well, and that's something that really gives me a lot of joy, because obviously the foreigners, we see them throughout the entire year, but I don't see the Koreans that often. So this week, having the chance to interact with them, seeing different sides of them as well, it's been a really special week for me.
You know, you get a really good chance to find out what their Overwatch mains are as they practice hard in the player area. And we will not name who is doing that and who is not, but let's just say there's a lot of enthusiasm. No, you ruined it.
There's a lot of Tracer players back there.
Did you guys hear that?
I don't know. This must be some kind of audio glitch.
No, Smix could make that noise.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, we did have a lot of games that brought us here as we started over a week ago in Burbank, California, with the round of 16. Let's just take a look at the bracket. Gentlemen, you can pick any match you want. What's your favorite and why? What's your favorite moment? You can put the worst moment that you thought was funny as well.
I've said it time and again, and I will probably keep saying it because I think this may very well have been my favorite series this entire year. I'm not just talking about this particular tournament, and it was Sue Gumiho. There was so much tension in that series, particularly Game 4. If you watch one map, for some reason you only have the time to watch a single map, watch that and see just how down to the wire it got, see the comeback, and be absolutely amazed by the level of play and determination. Watch Gumiho elevate himself to the level of Gummy God to be able to overcome an insurmountable, or seemingly insurmountable, obstacle. That was StarCraft at its very best. That's what makes StarCraft truly thrilling, when you get those moments.
I mean, obviously, Sue Gumiho Game 4 was absolutely spectacular. Yeah. We were here all together, enjoyed it. Awesome. But just to say something else, I think Rogue versus Hero is a series that really stands out for me, because Hero was undefeated going into the playoffs. He goes up 1-0 in the style. We saw him just dominate everybody else. And then Game 2 got a little bit hectic, where you're often like one Zealot Swarm away or one bad Bailey connection away from being down 0-2. Maybe we have a completely different tournament, but Rogue kept it together on Odyssey. He created all the chaos, but somehow stayed very very calm in that chaos, managed to even up the series, somehow took a very quick lead 2-1, and then suddenly you have that bizarre final game on Acolyte where almost every Zerg, and you know, in the past I've casted games like that, and then after the game you get tweeted like, can you stop pretending Zerg still had a chance in that game? You can't kill that army, you can't kill that army. But we're watching the game and we're looking at each other, it's like, there's almost no high Templars, you know, Hero could potentially lose this, and for Rogue to somehow win a game where he was pretty freaking dead, like down 30 supply, no money in the bank, somehow turned it out, and now eventually he's here in the final. I think that's the moment that really stood out for me.
An awesome story. Favorite moment, Jeff?
I'm gonna kind of be that guy, and the game's been great. The round of 16 was actually really good as well at Burbank, but I'm excited about these announcements. The game going truly free to play is actually a very exciting time. It's a little bit late, but it's exciting to see new people perhaps coming in. And then I actually really like the announcement that this game's going to be at the Olympics. It's like we're actually one of the games that's going to help push esports and competitive gaming into a very new territory, and it's a huge honor, and that's kind of what BlizzCon's about for me, is that this game still gets this crowd. I mean, these guys are here to watch a ZVZ, which you guys are the real heroes. Thank you.
Pat on the back.
Great audience at home. We've been having a lot of jokes, a lot of memes, been making fun of the commentators together.
Nothing wrong with memes.
No.
Total biscuit.
If we're going to watch any kind of Zerg versus Zerg, a Zerg versus Zerg with Rogue in it is absolutely the way to go. No doubt about it.
It's all about Sue, man. You're about that Rogue train?
I gotta say, Rogue ZVZ right now is absolutely monstrous. Everybody's saying it. That's not just a hipster remark saying, well, I believed in Rogue the entire time. Yes, you know, to track it down 3 or 4 years ago. No, he is that damn good. As great a story as it would be for Sue to finally break this curse here, that is a very big mountain to climb.
And let's key in on Sue then as we get ready to jump into this series. Sue, I mean, his story is the easiest one to follow. He's the guy that's been second place time and time again, but he's able to get there. He has the ability.
He's been awesome, and obviously we don't even have to tell that story anymore, but there's one fun thing I read a little while ago on Reddit, which said that if Sue would have won that first GSL final that he lost against Cess way back, we all know, maybe some people at home don't know, but Korean tournaments are very, very top heavy. So the first place is often so much more than the second place, and I forgot the exact numbers, but it came down to the fact that if Sue would have won his first GSL, he would have made more money than in those 6 second place finishes combined. Like, that is pretty tragic, but then to perhaps make up for it at the biggest prize pool of all time, I mean, if that's not the ultimate story, Nate, I don't know what is.
That's your redemption arc right there.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know, that is the end of season after all the anime filler. Finally, the final battle happens. Your hero wins. Everybody claps. There's weird fan art drawn. You know how it goes. But look at that. 10 times has he been in the final of a major tournament. He needs this. As much as we could say he has got to be the most consistent player in StarCraft. Yes, and that's a very, very hard thing to be in this game. But he's also, unfortunately, consistently second place. And he's dealt with it as well as any pro player possibly could, but it is weighing down on him. He keeps mentioning it in interviews, and people keep saying it to him, which is probably driving him up the wall. He wants to bury that reputation.
It transcends competition. It becomes like a defining part of your actual life. Like to get that close, and you're not guaranteed. Like every time he's in a final, that could be his last one ever, guys. It's not like it's he's so good that it's like, well, he'll be in the next finals. No. The competition, the level of play he has to be at, it could be his last. And he knows that. He knows that better than anybody. So to be here, to have a front row seat and watch someone potentially overcome that is actually a big part of the reason why I think StarCraft's so special.
I think that Sue has a lot of fans in this crowd and online watching, hoping that he can finally break the curse and get that big championship. I can hear your cheers. You guys are definitely excited for this, but his opponent is no pushover. We talked about how he came in at the end. I think you guys were mentioning denied SOS. Everyone's like, where is that guy? Where's the former champion? Well, this guy's the one that kept him out. Rogue has been a beast.
Yeah, he's the hottest Zerg in the world. That's something everybody has been saying for quite some time. He won the Intel Extreme Masters in Shanghai, but he needed more. He needed way more, and it came down to that final tournament in Korea. He needed to win the GSL Super Tournament, and he did. And there is one more fun little fact. People often talk about the ladder, right? The ladder is not that important. The ladder, yeah, that's for practice. Well, right before Rogue won those tournaments, he was ranked 1 on the Korean ladder by a large margin. He was hundreds of points ahead of anybody else, and he stayed on top of that Korean ladder for a long time, and this just comes to show, Nate, that if you're on top of that ladder for that long, that truly means something, and he's translating into massive tournament results right now.
Yeah, I was talking to a few of the pro players, and there was this weird prevalent opinion. It's like, no one in Korea was actually good at ZVZ, with the exception of Rogue. That's what kept coming up for some reason. He's got something that nobody else seems to have, some sort of intangible. Makes him absolutely deadly in this matchup that makes everybody incredibly afraid of him.
He's good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I just, I have this like static in the air feeling. I'm straight up hoping for the bigger storyline. Like Rogue's had success all year long. And obviously winning BlizzCon is not to be matched. So you can have success in the year, but it really gets defined at BlizzCon. I just, that big Seuss, or not Seuss, excuse me, the other storyline is just like kind of blowing my brain right now.
It's like you want that Disney ending, sort of that happy ending.
We're in Anaheim, California.
But I'm sorry, Rogue is the big monster. He's going to ruin it for you.
If it goes the other way, it's so bad. Again, it's like, and like there's so many kind of scary things on the precipice. Like what if it's kind of a bad finals? Like Rogue destroys him. It just becomes, it's not even a gorilla anymore. It's just, it's King Kong. It's like, it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to think how much is on the line for Sue, both in prize, prestige, and also proving to himself that he's not a second finishing player for the rest of his life. And when we talk about this matchup, these two players going against each other, what stands out to you guys as their biggest strengths in the way that they play the game? Is it the aggression? Is it the mechanics? Do those things even apply as much to ZVZ as they do other matchups?
I honestly think they're quite similar across the board. I think maybe overall Rogue could be considered a tiny bit faster, maybe a tiny bit more on point when it comes to trying to do more things at once, but Sue's understanding of the game is just as good, if not better than Rogue, when it comes to his execution of his own builds. And we didn't really see much of them in this matchup in this tournament. Yes, we did see Sue play a best of 3 against Nurture, but that first game it almost felt like he was testing the water. Second game was a little more aggression. I honestly think this is going to be obviously a mental game as well. You're going to see a couple of very aggressive openings. I think overall Rogue is slightly more aggressive than Sue, but I think in ZVZ they're going to be quite similar in a best of 7.
Do we think that, I mean, Sue has kind of quietly played better, right? Like all his series have been pretty dominant in his favor, whereas Rogue has tripped up, even losing to Neeb. I feel like, I mean, I know it's kind of hard.
Maybe Rogue had the tougher bracket.
I think that's
that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, like Sue's way, like in all his series, they just have been quietly pretty dominant in his favor.
Do we even see a weakness in either of these players that you want to exploit if you're one or the other? Are there any glaring mistakes to be analyzing?
You don't make it to the finals of the global playoffs with like obvious holes in your game, right? Because that would be way too easy to exploit. It just comes down to who shows up more in this final. It just comes up to who's more on point, right? Like it's ZVZ, you obviously don't want to be caught off guard. You don't want to play too safe because then your opponent can obviously outbreed you every single time, but you also don't want to get too carried away. So you're gonna have to find a nice balance between aggression and macro-oriented play.
Mirror matches are always razor's edge kind of things. ZVZ is probably the nastiest knife fight of all three. It can be absolutely brutal. It is frequently brutal. And a full best of 7 with players of that caliber, if there are any weaknesses, if there are any little intangibles, they are probably only known to the opponent. They're far beyond even the level that we could even figure out by just watching. You know, these guys are just that good. They're just too high level.
And to Total Biscuit's point too, one of the things I like about both these guys is they were the ones, maybe more so than others, to mix up their builds and to kind of give us different pacings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both Sue and Rogue showed us all kinds of different openings that way. ZVZ is a different beast, obviously, but what I'm excited about is in that full best of 7, some cheeses will pop up, some full macro games. I'm kind of hoping for a full showing of what ZVZ can offer.
Yeah. We do have the potential to go through all matches, you guys said. It is a best of 7. We do have a little bit more time as the players are getting ready. So I'll ask you the most dangerous question. Who are you guys looking at? Who do you can give me a head and a heart prediction for this series. It's a pretty heavy one.
Okay, now hard, I'm gonna go with Sue because yes, he does.
It's hard not to cheer for Sue.
Yeah, come on. Like after all these years, after all that consistency, but my brain kind of tells me that StarCraft is an evil game, and I think that Rogue might take it, maybe 4-2.
You want the Disney ending. All I'm telling you is sometimes the monster wins. In fact, perhaps more often than not. So head and heart regardless. I think Rogue, but I do still think 4-2.
All right.
I want a good series. I would love a Game 7. We've been given a few of those in BlizzCon. That this giant crowd, it would just be pretty awesome. Heart is obviously Sue. Like I've been kind of just spouting up here. I would love to witness that. Head, I can't hear because the heart's just kind of yelling right over the top of it. It's saying like Abe or something like shut up, Head, Neeb's dead. But like I don't know. Either way, I just want a great final. Obviously.
All right, well, appreciate you guys coming up. Appreciate all of the input that you guys have had. We've had a great weekend of StarCraft II action. It is time to reach the conclusion. Let's go to the main stage for Sue versus Rogue.